Well, hello there. How the hell are you? It has been quite a bit of time since the last time I filmed. I am going to attempt to film a few videos today because I have just let some things slide, but we'll talk all about that in a bit. As the saying goes, better late than never. All right, I know that we are nearing the end of October, and I realized, I knew. I just have been procrastinating because I haven't felt the oomph to film lately, and I attribute that completely to whatever slump that I have been in for the last like 2 months, really. I'm digging myself out of it now. I'm doing a lot better, but I'm not fully out, but I am doing better. So there it is. That being said, I never filmed a September wrap up. I know. I never filmed a September wrap up. We are nearing the end of October. I don't have a September wrap up, and I'm not going to do a mid month wrap up for October either because I just have not read enough books to do that. But I will do an October wrap up, and that will be in a timely manner. I promise you that. But I am back. I am filming, and I am here to tell you about the books that I read in September. I didn't read a lot. How many books did I get through? Should have already done this before I started filming, but like seven-ish books. So not a lot, but it wasn't absolutely terrible. Even though, we'll get into it, but I did have, it wasn't as bad, I guess, is what I was thinking. Like, I feel like it was a bad month, but it wasn't terrible. I just didn't have, I'll just shut up and we'll talk about it. Okay. So first things first, I was really excited to get to this trilogy, and it was not without its complications, which we will get into. I'm talking about the Mara Dyer series. This is a YA paranormal series, trilogy. Definitely YA. It does have some paranormal aspects to it. It's also like a mystery. It's a little confusing. We're going to get into it. However, the first book was The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. The second book is The Evolution of Mara Dyer. The third book and the conclusion of the trilogy is The Retribution of Mara Dyer. Did I say that right? The Retribution of Mara Dyer. There is a spin-off, is that what you call it, series. The hero of our story is Noah Shaw, and there are his books as well. It's told in his point of view because all of the Mara Dyer trilogy is told in Mara's point of view. So this trilogy is a little bit of a mindfuck of YA proportions because right off the bat, we're told that Mara Dyer is in fact not her real name. It is a pseudonym that she was told by counsel to use. So we're like, wait, what is going on? But she wakes up in a hospital after being in this horrific accident where her and a group of friends, her and 3 other friends, were trying to do, I guess, like a seance of sorts at an abandoned, condemned asylum hospital of sorts, but it collapsed, and she is the sole survivor. But some strange things start happening after her family moves her from, I think it's like Rhode Island, down to Florida. She meets a boy, Noah Shaw, who is just absolutely dreamy, and I love all the scenes with Noah in them. I think like back in the day when I read this, because I did talk about this before, I read the first 2 books like 6 or 7 years ago, really enjoyed them, and then just never finished the trilogy, which is why I was excited to read the trilogy for September. But guess what your girl did? She read books 1 and 2, and then never read the third book. So I followed in the same footsteps that I did 7 years ago. I do plan on reading this. It's just, these, I feel like, not put me in the slump, but they contributed to whatever the heck was going on. I think like coming out of August, like I was just, it was like a slow transition to a slump. I don't know what's wrong with me. I will read the third book at some point, but it took me a while to get through the first two. Even though it was really interesting and I wanted to know what was happening. It's YA. I don't read YA anymore, and you miss certain things. It's not as fast paced. There isn't the bits that we like. But there is a romance between her and Noah, although that is a different story. But I will get to the third one because I need to know what the hell's going on. Like, why is there a pseudonym? How did it come about? Who exactly are you? That is really all that I'm going to say because I can't tell you really anything that happens in the second book because it gives away spoilers for the first book and so forth and so forth. Back when I read this 6 or 7 years ago, I believe I gave the first book, The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, a 5, and I gave The Evolution of Mara Dyer maybe like a 3 or a 4. And I'm not quite for sure if I changed those on Goodreads this time. The first one is really good. I think like this time I ended up giving it a 4 stars. The second one I ended up giving like a 3 or a 3.5 stars for. There is obviously no spice for these. Although there is a little bit of language and there is talk about like sex and all that, but there ain't none of that. And I think if there is in the third book, it would be like a closed door situation. So we'll see though. But yeah, I mean, my mindset as it is now, they are really good for YA. So I picked up a book that has been on my TBR for quite some time, and I kept telling myself I was going to read it. So I was hoping that like this would stop whatever thing that was happening to me. So I picked up Tide by Kieran Cole. This is part of the, is it Torn? Is that, I don't know. Anyway, it is a dual POV. It is between Tyler and Holly. We met Tyler in the book Torn with Kenzie and Torin. So good, by the way. This is an age gap romance. There is quite a bit of trauma involved. Check trigger warnings. Yes. So, Holly was kidnapped when she was like 10 or 11, and she was held in this underground bunker of sorts in the woods until Tyler finds her when she, I don't know, I can't remember like anything. I mean, we're nearing, what is it? It's the end of October, and I can't remember what I read. So forgive me for not knowing specific details. She's like 18 or 19 now. She's an adult. There is, I don't even know. Oh man, this is going to be bad. Okay, so there's an age gap, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, this is going to be quite a wrap up. Let's see. So I said that she was in an underground bunker. He finds her. He saves her. And then she is like really drawn to him. So if we remember from Torn, Tyler is the recluse of the small town that they live in. He lives in the woods. He keeps himself. However, I do remember in Torn, Tyler's reputation being like more sinister. I felt like, I don't know if anybody felt like that. If you've read Torn, like if you feel like he was like, I feel like Torn was telling Kenzie like stay away from him. He's iffy. Like he's like morally gray almost. But I did not get that at all from Tyler in this book. He just is a recluse. He had an accident when he was younger, and he stays away from people. That is what it is. But Holly basically forces herself on him in the matter of like, we're going to be friends because I have a connection to you. I don't know what it is, but I have a connection to you and we're going to be friends. It was really endearing. I really enjoyed this. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Torn. It's a very emotional book. I don't know. I mean, first off, I love Kieran Cole's writing. This was written just as well as any of the other books that I've loved from her. I think that if I was in a different mindset, that I might have loved this more, but I still enjoyed this, and I still contribute this to helping pull me out of whatever funk I was in, because it was definitely enjoyable, and I read it faster than I read the other books. So I think that was my thing of like, I'm very slow to read these days, whereas like I could finish a book in 1 or 2 days. That is not the case right now. That being said, though, I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving this book a 4 stars. There's a 2 stars for spice. Moving on. Oh boy. Okay. I might get some flack for this one, but this is okay. His Pretty Little Burden by Nikki Harris. This is a dual POV. There's an age gap. It's a mafia romance. And listen, I don't remember the hero's name on this one. The heroine's name is Fawn. Fawn. Really, really interested in this one because it was a mafia romance. I specifically wanted to read this one because it was an age gap, and I wanted to read it for another video that I plan on doing. Spoiler alert, it will not be in that video because I never do this, but officially it is a DNF for me. I put this one down because I wasn't feeling it, but I put it down to read the buddy read that we had for September, and I planned on picking it back up after that, but I didn't, and I don't plan on it, and I have officially returned it back to Kindle Unlimited and taken it off my Kindle because I don't care to know how this ends. I do want to preface this by saying, like, don't take what I say to heart, take it with a grain of salt, because this is part of a series, and even though they are standalones, they are pretty interconnected, and it is like the second or third book in the series, and there's a lot of information that was probably given in the first book, but nonetheless, I don't care. I could go back and read the first book, and maybe I will at some point, but this one drove me up a wall. So Fawn, honestly, like, she's just so naive, maybe too naive for me, and we know how I am with really naive and whiny heroines. Listen, some shit happened to her, like very, very traumatic, horrible things that should not happen to anybody, and she ends up pregnant, and she can't take care of the baby, and she winds up at the mafia, the head of the mafia's house. Unbeknownst to her, she thinks it's her father's house, and this whole thing happens, and she ends up in a relationship with the head of the mafia, whatever. He has a wife, but they have an understanding. They have a really strong connection, but from her traumatic past and the way he is with her, like, it didn't work. It just didn't work for me. So I DNF'd it. And that is what it is. I don't have a rating for you because I DNF'd it, and I don't feel it's right to rate something that I didn't finish. So let's move on to our buddy read book for September, which was Delivered by Pam Godwin. It is the first book in the Deliver series. There's 9 books in this series. This one is third person, which is like, why? This one follows Josh and Liv. So Liv, I'm not going to go too much into this because we talked all about it in our live show, which I will leave links down below for you if you've missed that one. So basically, Liv is tasked to like find and traffic individuals for buyers who have very specific needs, and she finds these individuals that fit those needs. And her and the guy that she lives with, Van, kidnap them, they torture them, and then they basically train them for their new masters. What I loved about this book was the twists and turns, because there are 9 books in this series, so there has to be twists and turns. I love the fact that you are meant to hate Liv for what she's doing and who she is, but the way that Pam Godwin weaves in those twists and makes you feel so much compassion for her was absolutely amazing. I love the way that Pam Godwin does that. I also loved how Liv ultimately chose Josh for herself. Like, I feel like from the start she chose him as part of her salvation. There was really not much that you can say anyway about this, which is why I will leave our live link down below, like I said, because this is chock full of spoilers, and like basically anything I can say can ruin. There's 9 books. Like, obviously there's some stuff, but their connection together was just, it was absolutely dynamite. Like, I loved the push and pull. I loved how he was her prisoner, but she became his prisoner too, like not in the prisoner way. Anyway, it was really good. I ended up giving this one a 4.5 stars and a 4 for spice. I would have given it a 5. However, it's in third person, and I do not like third person at all. It takes away something from me. Like, I like being in my characters, right? So just for that, I'm deducting half a point for third person, but it was a really awesome book. I definitely would like to continue on. There's so much that I haven't gotten to. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I do want to continue on. Next up, I read a new release by Penelope Ward, which was I Could Never. This is a dual POV. It follows Josh and Carly. Carly lost her fiance 2 years ago, and he has a special needs brother. Now, his dad typically takes care of Scotty, his brother. However, his dad has just passed away as well, and now Scotty is basically alone. And so Carly goes to take care of him until she can get him into a group home that will take care of all the needs that he has. Unbeknownst to her, Brad's best friend, Josh, also has the same idea of coming to take care of Scotty to get him into a group home. Now, Josh and Carly don't get along. They have never gotten along. The thing with that, though, is it was like this, like, miscommunication type thing, and it is squashed pretty quickly in the story. So, I mean, like, really there is no conflict. But I have noticed 2 things with Penelope Ward books. One being, at some point in the story, I will laugh out loud. And number 2, at some point, typically towards the end or the ending, I will tear up. Maybe not cry, but it will tear me up. And that definitely happened in this one. There is a scene with the 3 of them and some chicken cutlets, because that's all that Scotty will eat, that had me laughing out loud. Absolutely hilarious. Highly recommend just for this scene. It was really good. There is also, after they get over the initial misunderstanding of we don't get along and we don't like each other, they realize that they are very attracted to each other. They were never attracted to each other when Brad, the fiance and best friend, was still alive. So there was never, like, that's not like cheating or anything like that, but they have a hard time having feelings for one another because of Brad's memory, which I get, but also, like, you can't help who you're attracted to. So there is that, like, give and take there. It kind of got a little annoying at times, because I'm like, just, like, it's okay. I feel like Brad would be okay with it. Like, you're going to take care of her, but it was still a really good story. I also loved that the 3 of them just became like a family. Like, they had this makeshift found family dynamic, and it was really cute. It was a cute story. I really enjoyed it. I actually listened to this one, and it was nice to actually listen to this one. It helped me. It helped with the slump. I will say that. This one, let's see, what did I end up giving this one? I ended up giving this one a 4 stars as well. I gave it a 2 stars for spice. Which brings me to the last book that I read for the month, which was an arc of Tell Me What You Want by Lucia Franco. But I have the hard copy now, and she's so pretty. I just actually got this yesterday, so thank you to Lucia for sending this to me. I love it. This book. First off, the fact that we had to wait 3 years, almost 3 years. Yeah, I don't count Out of Bounds, but like 3 years for a book from, like, legitimately one of my favorite authors. She did us proud, though. So this is a dual POV. It follows Reed and Vanessa. There is an age gap, 11 years. So this is also brother's best friend. There's Cam Girl, Cinnamon Roll, Rottweiler Hero, just naughty, spicy heroine, which she's a strong-ass bitch. I will tell you that. I will say, though, at the beginning, Vanessa was giving me some type of Lily vibes from the Addicted Calloway series, which y'all know. if you've been around, like, like me and Lily, like we don't mesh. We don't mesh. But Vanessa, God love her, she had like a Lily tendency at first, but we quickly got over that. Trust me, she ain't no Lily. I love me some Vanessa. I loved how strong-willed she was. I loved how she wasn't going to let a man, whether it be Reed or her brother, tell her who she was going to be and what she could like. Like, she knew who she was. She like owned her sexuality too, which I thought I love to see it in a woman. And I think like it was giving me Lily vibes because it was like almost too arrogant, like almost too in your face at times. But the more that you read with Vanessa and you get like in her head, you see like how just what a great person she is. Like, she's got such a head for business and just she knows what she wants. She goes out and gets it. I love it. Her and Reed's connection though, spicy. Like, y'all, I mean, of course, it's Lucia, so we know that like our scenes are gonna be super spicy, and it was there. She's a cam girl, and she talks him. Well, I don't want to say that she talks him into it, but like he just gets out of prison, and he, is you're restarting your life. He is a convicted felon, so there is not much he can do. But he starts working for her brother, his best friend, in his business, and like starting to get himself together. But he also wants to take care of his mom, and so he needs more money. And he's very negative about the things that Vanessa does at first, but quickly changes his mind and like opens up a little bit. I think he just realizes like, like life's too short kind of thing. But she gets him to do a couple of scenes with her on camera, and I'm just saying, like, if you haven't read it, you should read it. It is on Kindle Unlimited. I gave this one a 4 stars. It is definitely a 4 stars for Spice. You ain't gonna be sorry if you read this one. Okay, so that is it. Those are the 7 books, really like 6 books because I didn't finish His Little Burden. So those are the books that I read in September, y'all. I really don't have like too much of a wrap up. My favorite reads from this month were Tide, Deliver, and Tell Me What You Want. I will throw in I Could Never because it really did help me with the slumpy slump that I was in. I really don't have like a surprising read for this month. My biggest letdown, obviously, it's going to be His Pretty Little Burden. I tried with that one too. Like, I got pretty far. I know I got over halfway. So I mean, like, I really tried. I couldn't with her. I couldn't. But anyway, that's it. My TBR for October is already up. It was the last video that I filmed. So there's that. I'm knee deep into the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. I have been waiting all year to read these books. It is the perfect time to read them. I'll tell you all about that, obviously. That's gonna do it, guys. I'll leave all the books that I talked about linked down below for you. Let me know how your September went. Let me know how your October is going. I will catch you in the next one. Until next time, happy reading.